the real concept of love is this. It has nothing to do with moods and attractions. I mean, really, honestly, that's really just human stuff still. Not to be dissed or put down or not lived, but I'm just saying, to know the real concept of love. It means God is love. Made in the image of God, we are love. I am and we are love. So that's what love is. It's a consciousness, not a mood, not a feeling, not an emotion. Real love, capital L. So I am the presence of love. Oh, that's fantastic. Now my job is to live the presence of love even while I'm on the earth plane. And that's really, really cool. We can go, oh, let's all live the presence of love. I bet if we had shirts, everybody'd wear them, bumper stickers, living the presence of love. You know, until somebody cuts you off. Then it's like, oh, you know, you wish you had a license, like a special bumper where it could flip the bumper sticker, you know, from living the presence of love to, you know, some other flipping, you know. So love becomes fleeting, and when it becomes fleeting, we know we weren't feeling the real thing again. We actually justify falling out of love, let's say romantically, because they weren't who we thought they were. They weren't who they said they were, and so on, you know. They changed. They wouldn't change. There's all kinds of reasons to, you know, fall out of love. But real love you can't fall out of. So sorry to say, but what happens when we get ticked off at other people is not they let love down, because love can't be let down. One of the reasons we get angry at them is because they're exposing that the love wasn't real in the first place. None of us like that, because it makes us look bad, feel bad. I gave my body to you and it's not even real love. You know, we get all hurt and wounded and we blame them and shame them and so on. And that's normal reaction. But just to sit with it and own more responsibly. If my love can change, it isn't real love. Okay, so that's really great news. Thanks, Mike. Well, you're depressing us because that means we've never known real love. Yeah, pretty much. But the good news is, if you really get it, it means we can start over and get it right. Meaning all the ones, the loves that did fail, did fall apart, the loves that seemed there and then not there. The good news is, even though it seems like bad news because it makes me feel bummed that I invested so many years and lifetimes into false love, the good news is that it makes me realize I'm not crazy. There was something wrong with that. It's just that it wasn't them. It's us. We were all experiencing false love. So no, you know, and it's kind of cool. If you really can be responsible and loving towards yourself, it actually feels pretty good to go, wow, now it makes sense. I knew something was wrong when I said I do. I knew something was wrong when I shared my body. Something just wasn't there. And we're looking for the magical piece that's missing, thinking next time I'll get that magical piece and then it'll all come together. And still something might seem like it's missing. Now, of course, some of us have had longer term, deep love. But still, if it's romantic, it's just because there's a little more magic to it. But it's still not real if it changes in any way, shape, or form. Bless you. So ultimately, what we're looking for is the real deal. To know love, real love, to be love. And I believe what happens for me, what happens for us, is that when we start accessing real love, the energy starts becoming a little more here. Love is who we are. So I start owning that love. As we start awakening to what I term mastery. You hear the term gods and goddesses. Gods and goddesses they're not so subject to moods. Okay? Gods and goddesses, masters, we start to kind of pull away from the crowd and drop into this place of, it feels like immune. Like I feel love. And then someone likes you, doesn't like you, and you still feel love. The closest humans come to real love is called unconditional love. But unconditional love isn't the highest love, because unconditional love means there's still a possibility of conditional love. We go from conditional love to unconditional love to real love, God. See, God doesn't have to go, I wasn't being very unconditional with y'all yesterday. God can't do anything but absolute pure love. It's just that it sounds like such a tall order for us to go, how are you doing this year? What are you going to do this year, starting the new year? What are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to start being the embodiment of pure love. Even if you say it, it's not that easy. But when we realize who we are, it becomes easier. See, if I'm Michael trying to be more of that, then I'm still the human wrestling with it, and it's harder to do. When I start recognizing and affirming, I don't even have to work that hard at it because of who I really am. Heal myself of who I'm not. Learn to get out of the way. Learn to own when I mess up and, oh, there was a little bit of the human piece there. Love, and it became conditional love and whatever, And it's an ongoing process, but it's made easier when we ask for divine guidance. Help me to be the presence of the divine today. Help me to see this person as you see them, and so on. And it's not really right and wrong involved with it because it's our own unfolding. If I don't like you, it's parts of me that I'm wrestling with. If I think I like you, I think I even love you. You're just mirroring parts of me. From when I was a kid, I remember even say middle school, high school, there were a couple of times when I saw this really strong attraction, but I was also somehow, thank God, made aware of what that was, what they were, what it was I was attracted to. Sometimes it was an attraction to things that I felt resonance with, and other times I was feeling in love, let's say, even if it's from a distance, in love with something I believed I would never have. So we have idealisms around love, attractions, fake attractions, all kinds of things. And so we call it love. Even in the Greek mythologies, Cupid, the arrow. If you really get into mythologies, it's really interesting stuff because there's even a time when the Cupid type of character, we see it in a Bugs Bunny cartoon and we go, okay, that must be Cupid. But no, that's a cartoon thing. The real concept of Cupid is really, and all the mythologies are really multi-layered and leveled in their meaning. But an example would be Cupid at this one point is supposed to fulfill his mother's wishes and hit somebody with an arrow to make him fall in love with somebody that they didn't want to fall in love with and kind of mess everybody up. And so Cupid's like, okay, Mom, goes out, gonna hit that person, make them fall in love with that other person so they can manipulate humans. That's our ego. But Cupid ends up accidentally pricking his own finger and falling in love with the person he's supposed to be cursing. Oh, what a drag. Well, it is. But it also is telling us about ourselves. Even when we're ready to fall in love, the ego gets in there and screws something up. It taints. See, the pricking of the finger, the poison gets in his system, and he cannot see her as she really is. Now, even his mind is twisted. So even when we're ready, the ego's riding shotgun all the time to just infiltrate everything. So you say, today's going to be different. This new year, 2018, I'm swearing that integrity only. Absolutely, I'm going to find a healthy, reciprocating, mature partner, and we launch into 2018 and all of a sudden, instead of that healthy, that you're going to grow into a relationship, you see somebody that looks nice. Oh, look, shiny stuff, And so there you go into the ADHD romance again. Oh, look, cute. I must have it. Why? Well, because they make me feel better by me having a cute person. I can show them off to my friends. Otherwise, if they're not cute, I have to make excuses. Oh, but they're rich, but they have a good personality, and all these dysfunctional things. Yes, he's very abusive, but you don't know him because when we're not around other humans, he's quite tame. When I feed him, he sleeps. I just scratch his tummy, and he, those are not healthy ways to describe relationship. It's, you're still getting yourself into the same stuff. So, God, it has to be a marriage to ourselves. Everyone on Valentine's Day should do this, and or any other time of the year. To stop and say, wait a minute. I keep looking for someone to be with, to be in love with, to share, whatever terminology you want to use, to be married to be partnered with. Hold it a second. Spiritually, there are no others. We're all reflections. We're all just holograms. So how would I feel about going to a movie, and people have actually done this, unfortunately, and seen a character on the screen and fall in love with them? And people actually, do that, but it doesn't make sense. And if you walk up to the screen and start petting the hair of the actor on the screen, there's something wrong with you. This is why Spirit looks down at the humans and says, what are y'all doing? Oh, we're in love. But Spirit sees us petting holograms, because that's all we are, is holograms. We're just holographic images. So to fall in love with an image doesn't make any sense. I need to not fall in love, but to be in love, meaning be in a state of love. When? Oh, when I'm in the mood, or no. It is my intention always to love always, to be in love always, and to love in all ways, all forms. And we need to shift from I'm looking for love from you to bringing love to you. And if I'm not capable of bringing love to you, I'm not a safe partner. If I don't feel full, I don't mean where I'm perfected, but at least full enough in terms of the consciousness of love. If I don't feel full of love, guess what? I'm going to be looking for love. And if I'm looking for it and you become a target, that's not a good thing. But we actually feel flattered when people go, oh, guess what? He's making me his target. That's what you're doing. No, you don't say that. We're feeling connection, is what we say. There's such a profound, there's a deep connection. Man, I'm feeling such a resonance. I checked with my astrologer too, and wow. They said we're soulmates. And what's really happening is, if I'm in a state, if I'm in a state of lack, how am I not bringing lack to you? If I, as a teacher, am in a state of lack, it's going to leak out here and there, even energetically. I remember one spiritual teacher, pretty well known. You all would know the person if I named him. And I remember I was impressed this one time when we were talking about them and, the situation and romance, and this person that was sharing with me, they were talking about relations and how it gets confusing, and they tend to date a lot, we'll call it. A lot of the people they meet while they're on the road and all that. And the description they gave was, I feel profound. This guy said, I do tend to leak a bit, because he leaks this neediness and energy that they pick up on. It's not just about mutual attraction. And I thought that's pretty cool. I tend to leak. My energy, my neediness tends to leak. And they realized that's what some of these people are falling in love with. It's if you play a role like this, I play a role like this, and people can go, a spiritual teacher, or they seem spiritual, they seem more mature, so it starts to become convenient to the minds that go, now I think I'm attracted to this person. But then if you're in my body, you should try this, because I go places and I get the exact opposite. If I go to some places where everybody's shaved heads, kind of clean cut, they look at me and they start saying derogatory things to me. I don't get the love that I get from you guys. So I don't walk around going, God, I'm just so loved. At Unity of Sedona, I'm amazing. I take it, thank you, because I know there's other places it's the opposite. So I try not to take it on either way. Thank you if you're loving and respectful. Sorry if you're not. And I have to keep that certain objectivity, but that's what we all need to do. Because you see, it's a game. It's just a game in the mind. I happen to play a convenient role so somebody can like me. But if I don't play that role, they don't like me. And it's amazing, the intensity of the level of some of this stuff. It's like, I get kind of surprised, because I'm used to hanging out with nice people. And all of a sudden, I'm somewhere else, and there's this, ugh. And it could be that they're a region or a person or a type of group or what that's triggered by males. And they don't know that I don't walk around acting like male, or whatever else could trigger them. So we're dancing all the time. We're dancing with energies. There's a Jewish saying, we don't see things as they truly are. We see things as we are. That's important. So and this is going to sound a little hard, because then where is the real love? Because when you think you're attracted to somebody, you're seeing them through your own lenses. So how do we know when it's real? Devote to love and getting to know love and being love within yourself, and let that be shared with others. When that's lacking, you're in trouble. But the good news is you don't have to be perfect. As long as you're psychologically and spiritually mature enough to own it and say to partners, prospective partners, here's where I struggle. That's it. Yeah, I'm really working on being the love and sharing the love, but sometimes I struggle in this area or that area. Sometimes I know I don't need anything really, but sometimes I can feel that ache for affection. And that person, if they're healthy, would say, and I would be there for you. Let's do that. Let's have affection. If there's days when I'm not affectionate enough and it bothers you, that person says, I'm committed to looking at why it bothers me. You see? But I'm also committed to saying, is it okay if I share affection with you now? So we should do what we can to be a healthy presence for each other, but be willing to look at when the person's not, why it's triggering us. See? Bring responsibility along with it, because we're going to slip here and there. But are we responsible enough to deal with it when it's happening? You know, it's interesting stuff, this concept of love, because there's a point where a lot of people don't realize or understand why it happened. Jesus was once talking to Peter before, obviously, the crucifixion and all. This is prior, and things are kind of coming to an end. They're winding up in terms of their lives. And Jesus is starting to have these interesting conversations with the apostles, different than he had before. There's this one point where he says to Peter, do you love me, Peter? Yes, Master, I love you. Do you love me, Peter? Yes, I just said, yes, I love you. Do you love me, Peter? Yes, Master. Why did he ask him 3 times? 2 good reasons I'm going to give you. Why did Jesus ask Peter, do you love me 3 times in a row? Not 3 different days, 3 times in a row. 1, because later Peter denies him 3 times. So he was preemptively making him reconnect with the love so that he was already clearing what was going to come from him later. Kind of cool, huh? How good are we at that? Do we say, are you faithful to me? Yes, I'm faithful. Are you faithful? Because we know they're going to be unfaithful, but it's okay. We've already cleared it. No, yeah, I'm going to clear something, all right. So we toss out the spiritual principles. Here's another reason why Jesus says, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Because traditionally, and in the Greek language, but in tradition, there are 3 primary forms of love. One is like eros, the erotic, the physical. One is philos, like the friend, mind, emotional friend, like friendship love. And the other is agape. 3 main types of love. There are also others, but there are 3 main ones. So in the Greek language, there isn't just love, like one love, like romantic love. There are several types, which is beautiful because even though there's only one love, it helps us distinguish, because some of us fall in love with friends because we felt love, we assumed it was romance, and we became involved with them. We could have said, wait, no, this is philos, not eros, if people could be clearer. So those three main types of love, in a sense, what Jesus was saying was, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? He meant, do you love me in heart, mind, and body? Mind, body, and soul, that kind of a thing. He was calling him to love him on all levels. Now, if he's asking Peter to do that, isn't he also advising or recommending or demonstrating to us, love each other in all ways? Living mastery, becoming gods and goddesses, learning to be masters on earth. We just don't do small things anymore. We don't just half, crocked do a job. We really bring our presence to it. You don't just kind of go, well, I'm an artist, but I'm just going to start pumping out art that doesn't matter because it'll sell. Everything matters. Not hyper seriously, but deeply. And so we start to realize I can't even love just on a shallow level. If I love a person on the physical, eros, again, 3 types. The heart and soul, like the unconditional love. Then there's the emotional and friendship type of love, and then there's the physical. Not all of them need to be applied the way we think. The physical meaning erotically or physically, like sexually. It just means even affectionately. Right now, I'm sitting in this room and I can look in your eyes and I feel affection because I have love and respect for you when I look at you. Love and respect, that's still the Eros in a sense because it's grounding it. And if you fall, I help pick you up, or if you're hurting, let me put my hand. That's physical. It's just not in that particular form that we think as sexual. But it's still action. Instead of going, oh, I see you fallen and got hurt. Well, just so you know, I love you unconditionally. You know, oh, wow, thank you. Now you've just helped bring up new issues for them to work on. But how is that helpful? So really we can live all three types and should live all three types because we don't settle anymore. We're masters. We know to do things from a more broad, profound, full kind of level. No settling. So unfortunately, we learn to think, even if we know of these three types, one of them is naughty, one of them is unnecessary. So let's only do this form of love, which we took out of the word unconditional and called it religion. Chaste. See? That way you don't burn in hell. Be chaste. Well, being chaste, you are in hell. And you'll have all kinds of burning going on. Hunka burn lip. No. I don't know where that came from. I guess I was channeling Elvis. Yeah. Thank you very much. So, anyway, so you've got these three beautiful levels, not live fully, just in the heart. It sounds good. We walk around wearing the garb, monks and nuns and whatever else, and chaste. The whole concept of to be chaste or chaste is all misconceived as well. The word chaste, it meant to be pure. And they go, oh, well, purity means don't touch. Why? Because to them, the body is naughty. So to touch the body means you're naughty, you're tainted. But wait a minute, that makes sense, except who made that up? We just went along with it and said, well, okay. But we didn't go, wait. See, the child goes, why? How come, mommy? Well, that's naughty, honey. How come that's naughty? We don't question those things. Okay, and here the child starts constricting, must never touch anything, And we live like that, and then we teach our children from that place. But somebody's got to go, wait, why? I'm sorry, who said? If you don't live something, you can't redeem it. If you don't live it, you cannot purify it. To be chaste means to be pure. Can I touch you from a pure state of mind? That's all we're being asked to do. Can I be willing to love you, touch you, hug you, anything, without hooking, without my neediness and my brokenness and my projections onto you? That's chastity. Not touching, because that's too literal and physical. Not touching you doesn't mean that I'm somehow holier. So what the people did in the Dark Ages was, we're going to be chaste because we love God and we want to do God's will and we don't want to be naughty. Then they see women walking around, they're like, I haven't had any for a while. Wow, that's looking kind of good. Then they go, this can't be me, it must be her. We should kill them all. There are actually historical records of entire villages being down to 1 or 2 women because the numbers that were put to death. That's a hysteria. But where's it coming from? It's coming from their own denials. See, somebody made them think that to feel something is shameful and naughty. They projected onto the women and literally took them out, killed them. But they didn't need to do that. What would have prevented it? One word: responsibility. They should have sat down and said, hey, Brother George. Yeah, Brother Ringo. I don't know about you, but wow, me too. Oh my God, what are we going to do with that? I don't know. Let's talk about it. I'm feeling desire. What are we going to, let's bring it to God. There's a novel concept. Hey, God, show me what to do with these desires. And God would have shown them how to see love, attractions purely. And then they would have been truly chaste. Purely would have meant, oh, I think that maybe there can be a group of us that chooses celibacy for some reason, and a group of us that's allowed to engage if we choose to. See, that would have been okay. Following what is right for you. They asked John the Baptist, they asked Jesus, what do we do with these things? And John the Baptist is like, I don't know, man. He's like, if you can just work on your spirituality and not be, confused by romance, then if you have to be without a partner to do that, be without a partner. People then went, okay, John the Baptist says, don't have partnerships. That's not what he said. He said, if you can't handle this or that, then do what you can handle. So we're on the spiritual path. And instead of this extreme, go for it and just live freely and be intimate with whomever, or this other, don't do it, it's naughty. Then we're going back to the old church that we were involved with lifetimes ago as priests and nuns and whatever. We don't need either extreme. How about something in the middle? How about my ability to give myself permission to say, God, what would you have me do? And in this moment, I feel okay holding this person. In this moment, even when we're passionately involved, do not disconnect from the person and lose sight of the real them. Ask to see them as souls. Now, this gets tricky. There's a saying in Tantric Buddhism, because in the world of religion in the Far East, traditions and religions, there are some that say no touching, just like in the West, no touching. Then there are some that say, well, complete engaging, like physical tantra. There's groups like that. But it's interesting because even the ones that don't touch have a saying about the other. And that is, if you can achieve this other form of tantra, they call it, tantra is the short path to enlightenment, is what the Tantric Buddhists say, the Buddhists say. Tantra is the short path to enlightenment. It's like, well, then why aren't you guys getting any? What's going on? Like, if that's the short path to enlightenment, let's have some. But what they're saying is, if you can accomplish being with the person despite the attractions, the stimulations, and so on, and hold your center, you're going to get connected to spirit faster than if you meditate the rest of your life. And that's mastery. Can I hold my center and practice art or archery, or that's called Zen in the art of archery? Can I hold my center and do bonsai arrangement or flower arrangement? Can I make love while still maintaining my center? Can I run track or play football or baseball while holding my center? It's not very common, but that's the short path to enlightenment. If you know how to connect with God and then live, then you're doing without doing. The being kicks in and you are living the God life, which is mastery. You just don't lose the center. And that sounds easy, and of course it's not that easy, but it's an incredible path to try it. One thing that's nice is when you can choose another, if you do choose another, as an intimate friend, as a partner, whatever it is, and tell them that that's what you're doing. I would like to practice this where we're intimate, but we do our best to stay connected somehow. That we can still be passionate, but the more active we become, the Buddhists would say, there you go. You're starting to lose your center. So you can be passionate, but do you know how to be passionate and not lose your center? If you're a receiver on a football team, can you run out for a pass and run your patterns and try not to get, blocked? And can you try to catch the ball and know that they're trying to kill you while you're trying to catch the ball? Can you do all that and still be, here I am, God? Most people can't. But the day will come when all of us are doing that very thing. Never disconnecting. Never disconnect. Doesn't matter what you're, carpentry, whatever it is. Shaving down the wood on those windows, or, seals, and nailing this in, and painting, and, taping things off to paint. It's still remaining connected. It doesn't mean you have to sit there, in Latin or any other language doing chanting. It doesn't mean literally. It starts with just our intention. And you can set the intention. That's why in many traditions like Tantra, not the hypersexual Tantra, I'm talking about healthy version of Tantra. The idea is to sit with each other and, in a sense, set an intention. Sometimes we just do it silently within our hearts and souls. Other times it's literally spoken with the other person. I'd like to spend some time, and share with you. And I really today I just feel like I just want to let go. I just want to feel open in all ways. Love in all ways. how does that feel for you? And they can say, that's kind of not where I'm at today, and talk it over. Or they can say, that sounds fantastic. Now we've set the goal of our meditation or prayer, but it's not a prayer meditation by tradition. Our prayer and meditation are going to become communion. But the word tantra means to weave. The word yoga means to yoke or connect. They mean the same thing. To weave or connect in tantra or yoga means God and I, me, and then you and me, but in that order. God and I, all of I, the me, and then also with you. Communion, connection. That's what it's about. How can we stay connected to spirit with ourselves and yet with each other? And it's a beautiful thing to learn. What if I don't get it right the first time? It doesn't matter. I'm learning. And it's amazing. And it's okay to sit with your partner, your beloved, your lover, whatever they are, and say, God, it's amazing, because I just realized I was able to do it when this was happening, but not that. I was able to do it here, but not there. And you can see where you're a little bit weaker and work on it. Because if you're trying to connect with God, yourself, and others, there's no room for judgment about it. You don't say, oh, I have failed, because you're not doing religion. You're saying, that was amazing, and I kind of laugh. This is like the fourth time I've tried this, but when we get to that one particular thing, even if it's conversation about certain topics, I start to get triggered. Oh, okay, now we start to learn from there. What is it that's not working? And if you're with somebody safe enough, that's true love. When you're with somebody that has enough love and respect for you, then there's safety. And if there's safety, we can talk about what's working and not working. And that's pretty cool. And if you say, but I don't have one of those, with my partner, that's not there, then I have to ask you, why are you with them if they're not loving, respectful, and safe? Well, it's too late. We've already been married, okay. So if you die tomorrow, you still got to come back and do that again. So you can't say it's too late. It's never too late. You can still make new choices now and say, no settling. And you can go to a party. You could be on your 70th anniversary and still say, starting now, heading towards our 71st anniversary, I have an idea. Let's do things. Don't say like corrective, like I don't like what you do and I want you to do it differently. Say I love you so much, I would like us to take a new course and add to. Let's add to our conversations. Don't say you don't talk enough, you don't share enough. Just say let's add to it. If what you get is no, etc., you say to them, are you sure? I like that you get that. See, that's one of my favorites. Are you sure? What that means is, I have fully stated what I'm looking for, and I'm hearing you're not interested. That's what I mean by, are you sure? And when you say, that's right, no way, okay. So would you like some more coffee? You just change the subject and move on. But what's happening inside of me is, I'm done. Recalibrating. Would you like one lump or two? As I'm thinking, now which attorney was, but it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. Inside, I can even be sad. I mean, my God, I was with you for a reason. I thought this was it. I might have to cry, but I'd rather cry and be bummed out than to lose my soul. Because at the end of this life, if I don't do something about this, I'm hooked next time. No, that's partly the meaning when Jesus says, when your hand offends you, cut it off so that your soul doesn't descend into hell. He's saying, when you know something's not right, end it so that it doesn't drag you into having to reincarnate or whatever it happens to be. I'm not saying reincarnation is bad. I'm saying reincarnation that comes from unhealed wounds versus choice, you see, is not so healthy. Is it bad? No, you're just going to come back and learn again. But why? Why drag it out till next lifetime? That doesn't even sound rational. That's like saying, well, this relationship's going really horribly, but I'll just look forward in the future, there'll be another one. Like, wow, why put things off? I'm not eating so well and I'm sick because of it, but maybe next year I'll start eating better. It just starts shifting things now. I believe in that. I've said many times, I'm a nowist, not a Taoist, but a nowist. So let's get it moving. So The last thing I want to share. There's something that Jesus said, love one another as I have loved you. And to me, I think that's amazing. And yet he didn't love us romantically. However, if Jesus was being romantic, what would change? He would still be doing the heart love, the mind love, the body love. But instead of the body love being in the form of healing a person that's sick, it can become the touch with a lover. You see, it's still the expression. It doesn't actually change. Christ or Jesus or you or me or Buddha, whomever, we don't have to say it's black and white thinking. Love, and it only takes the form of love without the touch. The short path to enlightenment is for the few who choose to take it from the spiritual all the way to the physical. It never worked for us to try to maintain it spiritually without the rest, because that's called religiously, once you start to judge and put a box around it. And the religious form of love harmed people because it was never love. So I choose to be as God created me to be. I choose to be the embodiment of love. How is that practiced today? Well, to this person, it's, would you mind? I would love to, and then you just lose, which is really gaining. It's a figure of speech. You just lose the self, the little self, as you hold each other. And there's this beautiful union. It can even just be somebody here. It could be somebody here. You say, hi, nice to meet you. And they could, the chaplains could, the ushers at the door could be trained. When people come to the door, they get 10, 20, 30 seconds of absolute love download. Nice to see you. And just download this wave of love, and you would feel healing and openness and all this profound shifting inside. But we don't tell them to do that, because we're in a world where as soon as they reach their arms out, somebody goes, do I know you? And then they hug, and then what are you doing? The mind is so messed up. There's a saying. I love the fact that this is in the Bible as well as in tantric scrolls. To the pure, all things are pure. To the wicked, all things are wicked. So when I reach to hold you and give you a hug and your mind goes into wicked, you're going to see wicked no matter what. And if you're pure in heart, all things are pure, and you'll feel the pure intentions. What do we do then, guys? That's black and white. Pure, wicked, what do we do? Our best. It's all we can do. Do you mind if I greet you with a hug? No, thanks. And that's fair enough. Good. That's perfect. Don't feel rejected. They're honoring themselves. Okay, thank you. Good to see you. Other people, it's like, hi there. You just do what you can. Do what seems appropriate given any particular circumstance. If somebody can't feel healing with a hug, then just a hand on their shoulder might be it. Because if we insist on it looking a certain way, we're then messed up. Because I can only heal you or show you love if my hands touch. That means I'm messed up because I'm hooked into something too. You're hooked into no physical. I'm hooked into yes physical. So the really healthy person holds the love and is asking God, as well as the soul of the other person, in what way can I most bring love to you today? And to some, it's a smile. See, in some cultures, and in the ancient days too, but in some cultures, it was understood because we communicated. If I walk up, you were a man or a woman, if I walk up and I kiss you on the lips, I'm recognizing that we're both of equal status. If I kiss you on the cheek, I'm a little higher than you. And the next rung was, you're not allowed to be kissed by me or kiss me. You bow if you're lesser than. Now, that's really bizarre. It's tradition that sounds bizarre to some people of today. What I love about it is it's clear. And the person, Alexander the Great, he comes across this when he goes to Persia. They're kissing and doing all these other things. And the Greeks were like, we're free. We don't have to show any levels of status to anybody. So they're like, no, Alexander, we don't like this thing about different levels. And he did something as he often did. Brilliance once again. He said, well, what's going on? Well, the statuses, we want to all just be able to walk and see you, the king, and now the king of Persia, and say, hey, how's it going? What's with this, ceremony and whatever, And he says, but this is what they do here. When in Rome, this is what they do. In Persia, this is how they live. You can't tell them they're wrong for the kissing. And they didn't want the kissing to happen. So he's like, don't tell them they're wrong. How can we blend the two? So he said, I got an idea. You guys come in and you show the Persians your respect because I am the king. You didn't do what I did. I did it. So you walk in and you do, whether it's the bowing or whatever. Then he says, and when you're done, I'll do it back. Perfect. You see what he did there? Perfect. He says, this is their custom to show respect. So you guys have to do that because you got to get used to it. He says, but let's teach them something that they have to get used to, which is the king can also show respect back to the folks, the average person of the day. Find what works for you. Be sensitive enough to know when in Rome, that figure of speech. Know what seems appropriate for any given person. One last thing, though, I was starting to say, you do have to be careful because people are not used to love, least of all in its most profound sense. When you, as a man, can hold love and approach, it sounds stereotypical, but be with me for a moment on that. Often when a man can hold that state of love, it can look confusing to a woman if she has longing or emptiness because that's what I'm looking for. And you're holding that. There's also, if a woman holds that space, men can easily interpret it as she's coming on to him. Now here's the downside to that. That means we shouldn't do anything. Because the women are going to interpret this, the men are going to interpret that. So let's all do nothing. Let's make sure we don't do anything to confuse anybody. Perfect. And the ego prevails. So what are we going to do, guys? There's a saying, cling to Christ and go. Cling to God and go, meaning God be with me and just do your best. You're going to have your hand slapped once in a while and it helps you to check in. Okay, was I doing anything strange there? And you check in and go, no, I felt pretty clear. Then can you let it go? If you didn't do anything, let it go. If you did, okay, well, I hugged, but oops, accidentally I said this or did, oops, and own my bad. And you can apologize. Or you can do nothing and run no risks whatsoever. But to me, the world never heals by running on its old patterns. The world will heal by us being, running the risks. Communicate. I mean, come on, just communicate. Hey, listen, I noticed you hugged me. Now, you might hug somebody here today. And they go, later, they could ask instead of going, oh, I don't like that person. They hugged me. You can say, listen, I've never actually had anybody hug me at a spiritual center before. Well, you probably haven't been to a lot of them then. But I've never had anybody hug me. And it was Valentine's Day. Was there a little something special there? And, inside you're allowed to go, crap, You're allowed, it's okay. But just clear it. Talk. Say, because this is how I might, when I'm in a really high space, it feels like battery cables. Like I just love to ground it. So I dig that. Whether it's children, hey guys, how's it going? Get in and play, and dogs and animals, hey, how's it going? The higher I feel, the more I love to ground it. But it's not in a weird way, just in a grounding way. So if somebody said, wow, you seem so happy when you hugged me the other day. Yes, I was really high and they, I thought it was special. And people get hurt. But at least they ask. And I can at least tell you where I'm coming from. Are you okay with that? Because it's cool when we can say, I'm fine with that. The kiss on the lips, the kiss on the cheek, the hugs, the namaste, whatever it is, it's all beautiful. But made more beautiful when we agree that that's what we're doing. Is that making sense? All right. Let's take a few centering breaths. Just relaxing the body. I love the music that we use here at Unity of Sedona, and I love our meditation music. But we don't pick it because it's just music. We pick it even because the love we have for the integrity and creativity and channeling abilities of the artists. Love. Even when you select music for a service, love. This artist, Stephen Halpern, his whole life creating music. He's not typically going to be aware that we're using his music, but just the fact that we love his music and just let go into the music, do you realize your soul is thanking his soul without him even knowing it? That's love. So we let this love just take us. Just drop the body, drop the concerns, drop the worries and the thoughts of yesterday and tomorrow, and just drop into it. And let's imagine for a moment our bodies becoming lighter and lighter and lighter to where we're actually lifting up out of our bodies. There's no density, nothing holding us here. We just float out of our body, safely open and out of our body. And imagine floating upwards, feeling and seeing a light above us in the heavens. And we're going to go and enter that light, lighter and lighter and lighter, into the light of God. To the best of our imagination, and the imagination is closer to true mind than any calculating thoughts, we lift up into the light of God and just sit there and breathe it. What is it like to be in the light of God? Feel whatever you feel, the ease, the comfort, the warmth, the oneness. I need do nothing in this state. There's nothing for me to worry about or think about. I'm just, wow. And it feels expansive. And then shift the focus into the specific form, the concept of love. Besides all else that I'm feeling in this space, feel love. The love of God. The love, absolute love of God. Feel how safe, how beautiful. But don't be standing in the love of God. Become it. Breathe it into every particle of your soul, your being. Like draw it so there's no distinction. You're just becoming one with that sense of love. Meld into it. I am this entire love of God. And then imagine now that light, that love starts to come into the earth plane, dropping down from the heavens just slightly, shifting downwards a little bit. We don't lose connection with it, but we come down a little bit towards the earth, just a little. And from this place, it's not the pure love of God as we were just feeling a moment ago, but it's called unconditional love. Unconditional love. So I'm not just blissing out in the light of God. Now I'm starting to look, there's on earth, there's races, racisms, sexes, sexists, people left and right, male and female, nice and not so nice. That's really different from the love I was just in. So this is a good bridge. Unconditional love means I love all conditions. I'm loving the hell out of everyone and the hell out of everything. I'm loving the hell out of war. I'm loving the hell out of people. Loving the hell out of poverty. I'm downloading what I had a moment ago, that pure sense of God, but now in the earthly, in a sense, earthly unconditional love for all conditions on the earth plane. Including our own children, parents, partners, former partners, everyone. Don't get hooked into someone being undeserving because you're in unconditional love. Let's take the love a little closer to the earth plane. From the all of humanity, all of people and things and situations. Now, how about people you meet and are closer to? Friends, students, clients. How can we love them as friends? How do we give them the level of the mind, not the soul, the mind, loving them objectively, being for people, being there. Never losing sight of the original love, nor the unconditional love, nor the friendship love. Now let's descend even further, right down to the earth itself, right here, in our romances and our closest associations. In what way does love shift now? What can you do to demonstrate love? Holding your clients with a new level of anchored love, but also how does it look with your partnerships? See yourself engaging physically, whether it's as a healer or as a partner or all the above. Even as a parent, how do you bring love to the earth plane for these folks? And how can you do it without losing center, meaning sight of God? What you're envisioning is what you do when you are a god or goddess. It's what we do when we're connected to spirituality, but yet in a physical form. It's being beautiful. We still have to be respectful that some people have issues around this and that, and do our best to be sensitive to those and not judge those. But still not denying ourselves the ability to bring love in every form, in all ways, to the earth plane. This is the way of mastery. To be God, love, and yet in all forms. And slowly begin relaxing as we close. Slowly begin relaxing and tune out the thoughts, tune out all the stuff we were just doing, and just bring it with you back into this room. Slowly stretching out your body, coming back into this room, but bring the concepts with you. Don't leave them behind like they were in a meditation. Bring them with you. Good. Now, feel that in every cell. Alive. And imagine now every cell of your body and being is alive with that divine presence. Every cell. So that means every cell dances with delight to engage or say hello to another cell in my own being. The cells of my liver dancing with delight to embrace the cells of my stomach. My meridians with my chakras with my cells, and so on. Every part of me dancing with, like, hey, how's it going? And then doing the same with each other. Imagine that. Because that's what it's like in heaven. You know, when angels greet even without bodies. You may have heard Paradise Lost. It's a classic old writing. And in the writing, they ask the angels, do angels engage? Do angels hug? Are angels intimate? And the angels tell the author, they say, yes, but we don't have tissue, but we still do it. We still make love, we still join, we still dance, but we don't have sinew, we don't have muscle tendons, but yet it still happens. It's a beautiful answer. Because it's like we still do it, but it's just not in the same literal form, yet it's done. So imagine that you're feeling all of that. The excitement of being in heaven where souls say, hey, it's always great to see the real you. It may not be right or safe to dance with people who aren't remembering who they are. In fact, it could bring more harm than good. Sometimes to be too close to someone or near someone or embracing with someone they're not in the remembrance, So sometimes that's better just to say, I'm good, thank you. You see? And that honors your own, where you're at, all right?